let's talk about cooking oils. Because, have you ever found yourself just standing in the cooking oil aisle at the grocery store, completely and totally overwhelmed? If you have, you are definitely not alone. So in this explainer, we are going to cut through all that confusion and really figure out which oils are the best for your kitchen and your health. Right? You know this feeling. It's a wall of bottles. You've got avocado, canola, olive, coconut, sunflower, all of them yelling different things at you from the label. And all you want to do is pick the right one. It's a lot. For years, though, the advice we all got was actually pretty simple. We were told to look for just one specific thing to decide if an oil was good for cooking, especially at high temperatures. And yeah, that one thing was the smoke point. This has been the go-to, the number one rule for judging cooking oils for decades. So let's just do a quick refresher on what that even means. So the smoke point is basically that exact moment an oil goes from beautifully shimmering in your pan to actively burning. You'll see those little wisps of blue smoke, and that's your first sign that on a chemical level, things are starting to go very, very wrong. So why is that little bit of smoke such a bad thing? Well, it's not just about your food tasting burnt or bitter. When that oil starts to break down, it releases nasty stuff like harmful free radicals and toxic compounds called aldehydes. Those can actually damage your cells. And on top of that, you're pretty much incinerating any of the good nutrients that were in the oil in the first place. This quote from one of our sources really puts it bluntly, doesn't it? The fumes themselves are actually toxic. So if your pan starts smoking, the best advice really is to just toss the oil, open a window, and start over from scratch. Okay, so for the longest time, that was the end of the story. High smoke point equals a good oil for high heat cooking. Simple. But what if that's not the whole story? What if there's a much, much better way to figure out how an oil is actually going to perform in your pan? And this right here is where the story starts to get really, really interesting, because recent studies have started to poke some pretty major holes in that old smoke point theory. And here's the kicker. One major study found that some oils with really high smoke points, like canola oil, actually produced more harmful compounds when heated than extra virgin olive oil, which has a much lower smoke point. So clearly something else is going on here. And that leads us to the big question, right? If our old rule of thumb is kind of broken, what are we supposed to look for instead to pick the healthiest, most stable cooking oil? The answer, it turns out, according to all this new research, is a concept called oxidative stability. And this, my friends, is the true measure of how well an oil is going to hold up when you turn up the heat. Okay, so think of it this way. Oxidative stability is like an oil's inner strength. It's its natural ability to resist breaking down and turning into all those harmful compounds we talked about. A more stable oil is, plain and simple, a safer and healthier oil to cook with. So what gives an oil this stability? Well, it really just boils down to three key factors: how many antioxidants it has, what its fats are made of, and how it was processed. Let's break those down. First up, the type of fat. Now, stay with me here. At a chemical level, polyunsaturated fats, or PFAs, have all these weak spots in their structure that just fall apart really easily when you add heat. But monounsaturated fats, the MUFAs, they only have one of those weak spots. That makes them way more tough and stable. And that's exactly why oils that are rich in MUFAs, like olive oil and avocado oil, just perform so much better under heat. And check this out. This chart is a perfect example showing that not all oils of the same type are the same. Look at sunflower oil. The traditional kind is just loaded with those unstable PUFAs. But there's a high oleic version that's been specifically bred to be over 80% stable MUFAs. When it comes to cooking, it's a completely different beast. Okay, next factor is processing. Unrefined oils, like your extra virgin olive oil, are just pressed. That's it. This gentle process keeps all their natural antioxidants, which are the little bodyguards that protect the oil from heat damage. But refined oils, they're treated with high heat and chemicals, which strips away all those protective antioxidants. So ironically, even though that gives them a higher smoke point, it makes them way less stable overall. All right, that was the science lesson. Now let's get practical. How do we turn all this knowledge into a simple guide that you can actually use in your own kitchen tonight? For those moments when you need a screaming hot pan, you're searing a steak, you're deep frying, you need an oil that's both super stable and has a high smoke point. Avocado oil is an absolute champ here. It's packed with those stable monounsaturated fats. And remember that high oleic sunflower oil we just saw? That's another fantastic choice, basically designed for this job. Now, what about the kind of cooking most of us do every day? Sautéing some veggies, baking, stir-frying. Well, the undisputed winner here is extra virgin olive oil. Seriously, thanks to all its antioxidants and its stable MUFA profile, it is incredibly resistant to breaking down at normal cooking temperatures. It's actually one of the most stable oils you can get your hands on. And of course, for no-heat situations like making dressings or just drizzling over a finished dish, you want to go for unrefined oils that are packed with delicate nutrients. Flaxseed and walnut oils are awesome for their omega-3s, but whatever you do, do not heat them. And obviously, a good quality extra virgin olive oil is perfect here, both for that amazing flavor and its anti-inflammatory punch. So what's the big takeaway from all this? You don't need a pantry full of a dozen different oils. This expert advice really simplifies it all. Just keep 2 bottles on hand, one stable, refined oil for that really high-heat cooking, like avocado oil, and one high-quality, unrefined oil, like EVO, for pretty much everything else. So now that you're armed with this new secret weapon, understanding oxidative stability, you can look at that wall of oils with brand new eyes. The question is no longer just, what's the smoke point? It's about making the most stable, nutritious, and healthy choice for every single meal you make. So, what's your new go-to combo going to be?